This is the Capital Farm Credit Wednesday night podcast, our weekly look at the area athletic scene, what happened last week, and what's going on this week. I'm here with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And tonight we're going to forego our usual guest, and we're going to be talking about the All Big Country Preps girls basketball team, which was released tonight. And tomorrow we're going to release the boys All Big Country Preps team, followed by our All Gym Rat team coming out on Friday. But tonight we're going to talk a lot about our girls basketball team, which is already posted on the website as we speak. And Dan, it's loaded as it is every year.
Yeah, it's definitely loaded. I think that's one of the fun things about basketball season is putting these teams together at the end. And this one, just like everyone we put together since we started this, has a whole lot of talent on it. I think it was really tough, kind of narrowing those teams down and picking, who went in what spot. But I'm really pleased with the product. I think that when you look at the teams, the first, second, third team, I mean, these are teams that would be able to compete at any level in Texas high school basketball, and it would be really fun to watch if they ever got put together on a court.
Before we take a closer look at our All Big Country Preps girls basketball team for 2021, we need to thank our primary sponsor, Capital Farm Credit, with offices all over Texas, including Stanford and Abilene. Buy your own slice of Texas with Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. And with that, it's time to take a look at our All Big Country Preps girls basketball team for 2021. Now, we have three separate teams with 12 players on each one of them. 36 players are going to be honored this week by Big Country Preps. We're going to take a look at our first team. And don't forget our Gym Rat team, which are the hardest working players in the Big Country. That comes out on Friday. We'll take a look at our superlatives and our Big Country Preps first team tonight. Let's start with our superlatives, our player of the year. No surprise, Claire Graham of Jim Ned takes it. A quality offensive and defensive player, just a great all-around player and a great team. And impressive numbers, despite the fact that they get a lot of depth and a balanced attack. And that's what you always have to keep in mind when you look at Jim Net stats, which are never off the chart.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Coach Hunter Cooley's team. You kind of see this year in and year out where the stats may not jump out at you, but if you see these girls play, you know what they're capable of. And Claire Graham was definitely one of those. She was the best player on a really good Jim Ned team, led them in virtually every stat category, and just a really efficient player. So I think a very deserving player of this honor. Jim Ned had a great team this year, like I said, and they basically ran the table against all of the area teams they played and played some big ones. So this was a good team, and Graham's one of those players that she's been doing it for years now, and she's only getting better. So she's one that's definitely fun to watch, and she's just a junior. So this is a girl we're going to get to watch again next year, and she's already playing at an MVP level.
All right, on the subject of juniors, our offensive MVP is a junior. That is Delaney Hansen of Haskell, a forward, a 6-foot forward who has been playing really well since she was a freshman up there in Haskell. Averaged 20 points per game this year, 6.3 rebounds, 4.6 steals. These are typical numbers of her. Great ball player.
Yeah, and she had the highest point total of any player nominated this year. And like you said, a girl with just a really diverse skill set, does everything well, can step out and hit the three, can score inside. She has great size for a girl with her skills, and a really fun player to watch. She's one of those that, like I said, does everything well. There's nothing, she doesn't have any major weaknesses in her game, and she was a real catalyst for a very good Haskell team this year. So it's fun to see her get honored, and she's another one that I don't think this was really a surprise.
All right, our defensive MVP is Abby Allen of Coleman, and she was an All Big Country Preps performer a year ago. This year, again, with a great season, 14 points per ball game, 13 rebounds, a solid double-double every night. But get this, 4 blocks per game and 2.4 steals per game and 2.3 pass deflections per game. She was a totally disruptive force out there, and she lands on our second team, but she is our top defender.
Yeah, and she's one that's just a great all-around athlete. She was an All Big Country Preps volleyball player. She's been on our All Big Country Preps girls basketball teams in the past, and here she finds herself again. Just a very good player. She's meant so much to that program. It's good to see her be honored, I think, just given all that she's given to that program and what she accomplished this year. You mentioned the averaging a double-double, averaging 4 blocks, averaging 2 steals, 2.3 deflections. I mean, this is a girl that gives her all every night out, and she's earned this with the effort that she's given.
And with that, it's time to take a look at our newcomer of the year. Now, we do have a new aspect of the Big Country Preps team this year. We have an all newcomer team. We have a top starting 5 of our newcomers, our area newcomers, but we do have our newcomer of the year, and that is Heiko's Grace Booth, who averaged 18 points and 7.3 rebounds. She's only a freshman, Dan, and she got 3.7 steals. She shot more than 50% from the floor. This girl is going to be fabulous in the future.
Yeah, she's just a ton of production this year. You mentioned the numbers, and that comes from a 5'9" frame as well as a freshman. So you're talking about a girl with some size to her that has just an enormous skill set. And you've got to think that they're really excited about her future in Heiko.
Let's move on to Coach of the Year. I don't think that this is a big surprise. Westbrook going to state for the first time ever, and Coach Jeff Bontrager deserves a lot of the credit. And he is our Coach of the Year for the girls' side.
Yeah, no, he deserves a ton of credit. His second year in Westbrook, they kind of knocked on the door last year of trying to get to that region tournament, thought they had a shot there. This year they broke right through, had a really good team, just a really good collection of girls that played well together and just followed the lead that Bontrager set for them. I think that this was a really fun team to watch, I think, because they had some talented girls, but there was no one that just stepped on the court and dominated necessarily. They worked really well together. They moved the ball. They found ways to score. They defended really well. And obviously their season ended like our Hermley teams have the past couple of years with the loss to Nazareth, which is just a monster. But a ton was accomplished this year in Westbrook, and I think Coach Bontrager deserves a lot of the credit for it.
All right, now we're going to jump into our first teamers. And no surprise, our MVP, Claire Graham, is one of the starters, 13.6 points per game. She was the District 6 MVP. And again, 13.6 points per game isn't a number that just jumps off the page. But in Jim Ned's system, Dan, where you're shuttling five people in and out all the time, and you've got quality players, and you want that ball dispersal because you've got scorers all over the floor, it's hard to score 20 points a night. They don't want you really scoring 20 points a night in that system.
Yeah, and I think the big thing too is when you look at her percentages, those points were scored extremely efficiently. You're talking about a girl that shot almost 50% from the field from a guard position. She's just a really, really good basketball player, and she's kind of the straw that stirs the drink there. So I think we talked about her for our overall player of the year. And I think all that applies. You're talking about a girl that does everything well and is a really good leader on the floor for Coach Cooley. So this one I think was a no doubter.
Let's take a look at the other starters in this lineup. A girl that you like her game quite a bit out of Abilene High, KK Roberson. I'll let you go ahead and take it away since you saw her play several times this year.
Yeah, I saw her play a lot throughout her career. Just a really good player. She scored over 1,500 points for her career, was a 4-year starter for Coach Terry Rotten at Abilene High, and just brought a lot of athleticism to the point guard position for them. She was very quick off the dribble, could get to the rim, could step out, could knock down a three, got to the free throw line a ton. For a smaller guard, she's not real big. She was just made a massive impact on the offensive end in particular. So KK was one that the people will be talking about for a while for what she was able to do at Abilene High, just because she was such a dynamic scorer. She averaged over 15 points, almost 16 points this year, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals. And granted, Abilene High struggled this year. They were very, very young, but she still managed to produce. So I think that KK is very deserving of that first team honor.
All right. Now, also a starter, no surprise, our offensive MVP, Delaney Hanson of Haskell, averaged 20 points per night, but she did a lot of other things too. She could rebound 6.3 boards. She had 4.6 steals. She had 1.8 blocks. And she's been really, the Hanson family has been sort of one of the foundations of this upsurge that we've seen from the Haskell girls basketball program in recent years. Delaney is certainly part of that, and she's only a junior. They've got her back for one more year.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the production. The stats speak for themselves. But one thing that I've always found really interesting about her is that all of that game comes in a 6-foot package. So she has basically a post, she's a post size-wise that can really play a guard's game if she wants to. And she can just do so many different things, such a diverse skill set, that she's one that's really fun to watch, because not only is she dynamic on the offensive end, which is she earned our offensive MVP honor. But she is a really good defensive player as well, and she's
Yes.
so active. She's all over the court. You watch a Haskell game, your eyes are going to be drawn to her constantly, just because she is always in the middle of the action. So it's hard to believe that she's only a junior because we've been covering her for so long. But I'm excited about that because we're going to get to watch her for one more year out there.
All right. From San Saba, another starter on our first team, Courtney Cash, a senior, a guard, 5'9", her final year with the Lady Dillos, and she produced in every department, 14.8 points, 4.1 rebounds, 3.2 steals, and 2.8 assists. She was the District 29 2A MVP, and she was an all-region player from TABC. This is one of those girls that can do it all. And she plays at the guard spot, but she is so athletic and she jumps so well, you could probably put her at almost any position on the floor. If you had 5 Courtney Cashes, you might win a state title. She's that versatile.
Yeah, she's a very, very good player. And I think the thing that's really impressive and kind of stands out is that's 15 points per game just about scored, not only in a really tough district that also houses Mason, who's always good in girls basketball, but it's for a San Saba team that really slows things down, plays kind of a defensive style. So those 15 points are a huge percentage of their offense on a nightly basis. So Courtney Cash is one of those girls. She's been doing it for a long time too. That's the name that we've been talking about for a couple of years now. And just a tremendous career and just a tremendous player. So it's nice to see her get honored and go out this way.
And with that, our final starter on the All Big Country Preps girls basketball team for this season is Allie McClendon. Dan, that's one of our best overall athletes on the girls' side in the entire area. This was her final season as a post player over at Stephenville, averaged 13.7 points, 7.0 rebounds, 1.0 or 1.8 rather deflections, and 1.6 steals. And this is in a really tough district, very good competition, night in and night out. It's difficult to post huge numbers against that kind of competition at the 4A level, but she posted solid numbers and did everything they wanted her to do.
Yeah, and that was for a really balanced Stephenville team that really had a lot of talent both at the guard position and the post position. And I think the real story for Allie McClendon this year was not the numbers, because I think everyone saw her impact. She was the co-MVP of, like you said, a very tough district. But I think the real story was that she did all that coming back from a torn ACL that cost her basically her entire junior season. So she was just a really good story, just in the way that she was able to bounce back and finish her career on a really high note. And like I said, I think she's one of the most dynamic post players we've had since she was a sophomore, really probably since she was a freshman. She's been a very good player there for a long time. And it was nice to see her get to come back from injury and finish her career in style.
All right, now we're going to move on to our 6th man. Now, this is the girls' basketball team, so our 6th person. But let me tell you how we pick our quote unquote 6th man. We always look, at least with us, we like a person that can act as a swing man type, a player that can play more than one position, that can come off the bench and play more than one position to take that 6th spot, that first spot off the bench. And this year, our 6th man on our first team is Tylee Jo Bevel, a junior from Stanford. I've seen this girl play a number of times, and I like her game. She's just got that attitude that she wants the basketball in key situations, and she's big enough to play a forward spot or a guard spot. They use her at guard, but she's tall enough and athletic enough to where they can put her anywhere on the floor. This girl can play, scored 14 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, and had 3 steals per game. And she can shoot inside, she can shoot outside. She's deadly from 3 if you give her an open look. She can play, and they got her another year.
Yeah, for sure. And those who have followed Big Country athletics, and particularly Stanford athletics over the past several years, will remember that name. She's the sister of former Stanford quarterback Peyton Bevel, who put up astronomical numbers. And like Peyton, who had a little bit of confidence, a little bit of swagger to his game, Tylee Jo brings that. She brings that to the court, and it's fun to watch because she's a really confident player. Yeah, she's elevated and helped elevate. They have a lot of good young players at Stanford, so she's not alone. But she has helped elevate that program to a point where they knocked off Haskell this year in a game for an upset, and they've been able to make a run the last couple of years, into that regional mix. So just a really good player that I think not only puts up numbers but makes a major impact for that program. So it's cool to see, and she's another one that we're going to get back next year. So that's the part that's really exciting. You look at this team and how many juniors we have. You're going to see a lot of these girls on next year's team as well.
All right, before we move on to the reserves on our All Big Country Preps girls basketball team, first team reserves. Before we do that, we're going to jump into our sponsors. First and foremost, Capital Farm Credit, who brings you these Wednesday night podcasts free of charge throughout the school year. Also, for the love of the game broadcasting, and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of KLAX 93.5 FM out of Breckenridge, KATX 97.7 FM out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, and 94.7 FM KWKQ FM out of Graham, KROO 1430 out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is for the love of the game broadcasting. Also, Phil Hill of the Abilene Realtors Group, big supporter of local athletics. If you're in the market, give Phil a call at 325-669-5153 or take a look at his website at philhillproperties.com. And finally, Jack's Road Boring in Snyder, dirt sales and services. With service and experience, you can count on Larry Green as the man to call out there. 325-575-8004 is the number. That is Jack's Road Boring in Snyder. And with that, it's time to move on to our reserves for our Big Country Preps first teamers, our first team girls basketball team for 2021. Again, the second stringers, if you want to call these kids second stringers, I'll tell you what, this is a really good group of players. Our 6 reserves that we've got coming off the bench of this ball club. How good is this? We'll start with Melody Martinez, a 5'8" junior guard from Haskell. This girl is one of the best all-around players in the area. I mean, it was a tough choice putting her as one of our reserves. You know, we were kind of moving our rosters around. It was a tough pick, but she goes to our reserves. There's very little this girl can't do on the basketball court. She's a smart player also.
Yeah, well, she's a coach's kid, and you can tell watching her play. She's one of my favorite players to watch in the area because she is such a dynamic player, so fluid on the court. A really good offensive player who can do a whole lot of different things with the ball in her hands. So she's one that I really enjoyed watching. And I think you're right. She could have been right on that line as a starter, and she'd have fit there fine. I mean, she would not have been out of place at all. In our case, she fell just slightly to the reserve spot, but she's a very deserving first teamer. And like I said, one of my favorite players to watch. This girl can play, and she's another one that's a junior. So if you haven't seen her play, make sure you make a point to next year. She's going to have she and Delaney Hansen should have Haskell competing at a very high level again.
Absolutely, they will. Carly Willison is our next reserve, a senior guard from Monday, a 5'5", great ball player, can score. One of the top scorers in the Big Country at 19.8 points per game, but at 5'5" as a guard, Dan, she was collecting 11.3 rebounds. That girl's in there hustling, and 8.2 assists. I mean, she's right on the verge of averaging a triple-double.
Yeah, and she averaged 4.8 steals on top of that. So you're talking about a girl that literally did a little bit of everything actually a lot of everything for Monday, and for a really good Monday team too. That was a Monday team without a whole lot of depth. They only played a handful of girls, and most of them were smaller guard types, but they found a way to maximize that talent and had a really good team. It was really unfortunate. That was one of the sadder things about this girls' basketball season for me, was that you had a Monday team that was ranked for much of the year, got stuck playing a very, very good May team in its playoff opener off of that winter storm. So they didn't get to play for about 10 days, had that break, had to come in cold to play a really good May team and got beaten a real good defensive basketball game. So they weren't able to advance past the area round. But a very good team, and Carly Wilson played a major role in that.
All right. Our next reserve is from Forsan, way out west. Riley Evans, a senior, 5'6", one of the Lady Buffs, had a great year, 15.6 points, 4.6 boards. She had 3.6 steals per night, and she was dishing the rock around too. She had 3.7 assists per game. She could do it all, and it's no surprise that she was the District 8 2A overall MVP. That girl can play.
Yeah, for sure. And she's one that it seems like we've been talking about for a long time as well, but just a very good player, a very versatile player that just does whatever she's asked to do and does it well. So you look at that point total, she can score when she needs to, she can get rebounds, she can, get steals, get assists. And she played a major role in all the success that Forsan had. So a very good player. And she's one that is a senior. So this ended her career, but she ended it in really proper fashion, had a great senior season.
All right, next in line is Cisco's Sophie Hurtado, a 6'1" junior forward. Had a nice year, 15 points per ball game, grabbed 8 rebounds. She was blocking shots as well, a defensive force, and she was a big part of one of the most successful seasons we've seen from the Cisco Lady Lobos.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many of these girls we have that are juniors or seniors that feel like they've been around forever. And Sophie's
Yeah.
been playing since she was a freshman and has been an impact player since she was a freshman. I remember her getting key minutes for a playoff team as a freshman, for a really good playoff team as a freshman. And she's just developed from there into a serious force inside, almost averaging a double-double. She's another one that can get out has range out to the 3-point line, but she can also score, inside, and just a very difficult player to stop at 6'1". So I think she played a major role in the run that Cisco was able to have. They only finished fourth place in their district, but once the playoffs started, they really hit their stride, and she played a major role in that. So Sophie's another one that we're going to get to watch again next year, just a junior. She's one of those that's kind of become a household name, and for good reason. And I'm excited. I mean, if you're putting up 15-8 as a junior, I'm excited to see what she's gonna be able to do as a senior.
And with that, we've got McKinley Overton from Cahoma. This is an interesting play. She's only 5'8", but she plays post for the Bulldogettes out there. And get this, 16 points and 12 rebounds per ball game. And that's an even split. 6 of those 12 rebounds come on the offensive end, on the offensive glass, which is a lot harder to do. This girl is a hustler. She can play. One of the toughest girls we've got in the area. Only 5'8" with those numbers.
Yeah. And what I like about her is she's only 5'8", but she is a true post player. She does most of her damage right around the basket, and where she's really, really skilled. Like she can get the ball down there. If she gets the ball in strong position to score, you're going to have trouble stopping her. She's one of those types of players. And then such a strong rebounder. She's always in the mix for rebounds because she's just, like you said, very tough, relentless on the boards. And she's one that we've been talking about for several years as well, that has just gotten better. She's always been a good, solid player. This year, she was at her best. You're talking about averaging a double-double and a really strong double-double, 16 points, 12 boards. So we're going to miss watching her play as well because she was a big part of what Cahoma was able to accomplish this year, which included a playoff win in a really tough first-round matchup against a really quality Ballinger team. I got to see that game, and it was a lot of fun watching her work. She's one of those players that she was, like I said, a very big part of what they did. She was a go-to player for them and was very consistent in her production.
All right, our final first teamer among the reserves, Alexis Espinosa, senior forward from Jim Ned. She was one of my favorite players this year, and I'll tell you, the reason why is that I never saw her fail in clutch situations. Every time that she, had the basketball in a crucial situation, often she was drawing fouls, getting to the line, and then knocking down shots to keep her team in the ballgame. She was a clutch performer, and she could do it all again. She had just under 10 points per game, grabbed up about 5.1 rebounds per game, which sound like modest numbers, but they're really not in Jim Ned's system again because of the balanced scoring and really the amount of depth that they have. They're not playing 32 minutes. These girls are not. With that system, you're lucky to play 18 minutes.
Yeah, especially when you factor in the fact that they're winning a lot of these games by lopsided margins. So in a lot of cases, they're subbing liberally to get their younger girls in there as well, just because of the score and the situation there. But she's one that, again, that's been doing it for a very long time. I mean, she's a girl that over her 4 years at Jim Ned has led the Lady Indians to a 117-22 record. So let that sink in a little bit. It tells you just the amount of success that she's been able to experience and contribute to. She's one that, like you said, enjoys, kind of those pressure situations, performs well in those. And she's one that, generally speaking, every year you'll see her numbers increase during the playoffs. She puts up solid numbers in the regular season, and when the pressure heightens, she's at her best. So she's a senior. We're gonna miss watching her play, but it was a lot of fun watching her do what she did.
When you're only averaging 9.9 points per game, but you're still your district's offensive MVP, and you're still an all-region player, that says a lot right there. When the ball game was on the line and she got her hands on the rock, she generally did very good things over and over and over again. Just a clutch performer.
Yeah, and that's one. And she's one, Jim Ned, a lot of times their players are hurt in these award type situations because their numbers are relatively modest for a lot of different reasons that have, nothing to do with the skill level of the players. But she's one that when you watch her play, your eyes again are drawn to her. She's just a really skilled post player. And those numbers, if she were playing more minutes, her numbers would be just as impressive as anybody's on this list. She's got a really strong skill set and can do a lot of different things well.
All right, now that concludes our look at our All Big Country Preps girls basketball team, our first teamers. We want to remind you that we have 3 teams with 12 members on every single team. We're honoring 36 girls plus honorable mention tonight on our website. We invite you to go to our website at bigcountrypreps.com and jump in and take a look at all the kids that we have honored tonight. We are very proud of our work. We've got 3 teams that are just flat out loaded. And I mean loaded. I'd be very comfortable in any of those ball clubs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those teams are absolutely loaded, and make sure you do check those out because there's a lot of really good players being honored, and there are a lot of really good players on our honorable mention as well. Below the 3 teams, we have our honorable mention with the rest of the nominees on there, and there are some really good players that didn't quite make the cut for one of those 3 teams that were also very deserving of being honored. So check those out. We are proud of those teams, and one of the things I like doing when we put these teams together is kind of envision what these teams would look like on the court. And I think all 3 of these teams would be a load for anybody to stop and a load for anybody to score on. So it would be a lot of fun to see these girls get together and see what they would look like on the court.
I thought your favorite thing to do when we're picking these teams, argue with me. Yeah,
well,
it's like a 4-hour argument every year. Yeah. Argue. Of course, you never win these arguments. You only think you do. But tomorrow night on the website, we're going to be releasing our All Big Country Preps boys team. Again, 3 teams with 12 guys on them. And we'll also, again, we'll have the Gym Rat team that comes out on Friday, which represents the hardest working players in the big country. But this boys team, the All Big Country Preps boys team, we just got through putting that together. And Dan, we're very proud of the 3 rosters we've got. You can take any one of those teams and give somebody absolute fits. I mean, there's talent all over the floor. Size and talent.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to think about how these teams would look if you're able to get them on the floor. But putting these teams together is a challenge because there is so much talent in this area. There's a lot of really good players, and it's not an easy process to narrow that down. So there are going to be some picks I'm sure that people disagree with. But at the end of the day, you're talking about even those on the honorable mention, first, second, third team. All these kids are deserving of honor, and it was a huge challenge kind of narrowing that down and getting these teams, put together as we did. But always a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy getting to do this, getting to honor these kids who had great. That's probably worth mentioning this year is that these kids got to finish their seasons, which last year we had some kids not get to finish. It's the case of San Saba, not get to finish a state run. So it was nice that we were able to get this entire basketball season played through some adverse circumstances, which is also probably worth mentioning. These kids really deserve a lot of credit for what they were able to do to get through this season and to finish it as strong as most of them did.
All right, now this is going to about wrap things up for our Capital Farm Credit Wednesday Night podcast. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we have 3 separate subscription packages here at bigcountrypreps.com. We've got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual where we knock that price down to $4 a month for a 6-month subscription. And then we've got an annual where we knock the price down to $3 a month for a 12-month subscription, $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage. And one thing to keep in mind, we don't do the carrot and the stick trick with you and give you like 6 months at a nickel a month or something, and then all of a sudden jack the price up. We start at a low, reasonable rate, and it stays that way. Your price never changes here at bigcountrypreps.com.
And we'd also like to remind you that if you see a photo you like in any one of our galleries, it is available for just $7. You can click on that small shopping cart icon to the bottom right, follow the prompt, and purchase as many of those as you would like. But if you scroll around the site, you'll notice we take a whole lot of photos. That's something we enjoy doing when we're out at these games. And you can also check out our Big Country Preps photo archive, which includes every photo we've ever taken during our time with this website. So you'll want to check that out. It's something we have enjoyed putting together and something we're very proud of here at bigcountrypreps.com.
All big country, all high school, all the time. Welcome home.